So we got Tablo and we got RM. This is from 6 days ago. Stop the Rain. You got that sound?
Hello, rainy day. Parents call me lost, pastors call me devil, had me kneeling at the cross. Since I was a youngin', I was called names and bossed around. Back to the wall so long, call me pain's poster child. Religious home, times were different. They told me I was gifted, but to unwrap my mind was wicked. I was raised by guilt, raised by shame, raised by the rod. Sacrificed in the name of their God. They claimed it was love, felt like heartbreak to me. Later they say, baby, all your scars are to teach and remind you you can soar higher. What good's a bird's eye view when you're in a hunter's crossfire? Sometimes I wish that I got crushed in the womb, turned to dust in the womb. My scent of youth and ungodly perfume. No wonder I've always hated the adults in the room.
Wow.
We'll fall into tomorrow may not come, when maybe the tears will fall to wash the pain away. I'm trying to stop the rain. I know what it feels like.
Can't run away from the pain. I feel like I'm going insane. Bad thoughts filling up my brain. Demons swimming inside my veins.
2 seconds from falling into nothing.
Can't run away from the pain. I'm trying to stop the rain.
When I was a kid, I was convinced that I was destined for the 27 club. I'm 29, sinking in the bathtub, sipping gin, looking for another club. All the lust was a lust, dust into dust. Stray after stable, dash it up to your dirt. And every night I put my shadows on. But you know how much I hate my status quo. I know what you gotta know, my life is out of love. All the lessons learned already coming out of trust.
Keep my mind steady, but it's hard to readjust. Nothing stops time, but the clock will turn to rust.
Pain and rain, this will stay the same.
Got me looking for the exit just to entertain. Pain and rain, think I'm going insane.
Gotta turn off my phone tonight. Can't run away from the pain. I feel like I'm going insane. Bad thoughts filling on my brain. Demons swimming inside my veins.
2 seconds from falling into nothing.
Can't run away from the pain.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
Wow.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
Okay, we got some thinking to do here. Tablo and RM, Stop the Rain. Wow. So it goes perfect with mono for so many reasons. So we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to go through this again. So first of all, not only do we have this really great transition in the beginning of this is how it starts. Okay. Now let's BU this shot right here, shall we? We've got, so time frame. About what year span do you think this picture is? I'll give you a second to kind of dig in there. Yes, there are epic high references. Yep, I can see the light sticks. Okay, you say 70s, 80s. Anybody else? Okay. 90, 80s. So I'm going to say we do have a VCR with VHS tapes. We have a tube TV. We have right here is a Famicom system. If you can see my mouse right here, that is I think it was the Japanese Nintendo. It's how the Nintendo started in Japan. And then it became the Nintendo over here in the West. So this is at least like 1982, maybe. At least 1982 and forward, somewhere in there. Yeah, so we're probably looking mid-80s. We got a record player, a cat, of course, just sitting on every damn thing, being in the way. Okay, good start. But here's what, interesting. Now, yeah, we've got 3 light sticks, but this one in the cushion pointing this way, like it's pointing towards this picture, but I don't know what that is. I mean, it could be a family photo for Tablo maybe, or one of the Epic High guys. I'm not sure. And there's another picture here of 3 people. Could be Epic High, could be the Beatles. I have no idea. But that would kind of make sense if there's somebody's family's photos. Okay. This is Epic High down here. Okay, that checks out. Although I don't think this is them. It could be. Just one looks really small. Like a child. Okay. So here's what's interesting. We've got... The start is this. In color. And then the transition happens.
Hello, rainy day.
So the Hello Rainy Day brings us into this, and this black and white, very mono vibe maintains through the whole thing. Now, I know you're thinking, well, like, duh, obviously, but think about the decision that had to be made here. You could have done the whole video just like this, but this hits harder on that Hello Rainy Day because of the fact that it starts like this. It has more of an impact.
Hello, rainy day.
Now let's watch for references to mono. So we already know, based on what you're saying, and apparently what Tablo himself has said, there's a lot of Epic High references to albums and things in this shot. But I know there's at least a couple references to RM, if not specifically mono. And the first one I would say is, and it's a stretch, but it is black and white, and it has that animated feel of Forever Rain. So I'm going to say that's 2, but there's others in here.
Tablo.
RM.
I'm all in. With a losing hand. Teachers call me rebel, parents call me lost.
Now, this is a point I want to watch as we go through this. When you see these crossed out words, there's something important there. There's another message that's laid into this groundwork of the writing that you may not catch or understand the first time, but when you go back through it and you give yourself time to kind of examine it, we want to at least examine what this is, right? So parents called me. He says lost in the song, but he starts with Icarus. He says that's not right. But I'm going to ask you, instead of me just shotgunning at you the whole time, what do you think the initial writing of parents called me Icarus was trying to say? What is he trying to tell us with that? As I'm sure some of you are familiar with Icarus. The fall, he was always flying too close to the sun. He aimed too high. That's right. Now, if he had left this out and it literally just said, parents called me lost, we would not have this additional context for Icarus. So it's left here, and then it's like, no, that's not right. So what I'm gauging from this, and this is complete conjecture, it's total theory like always, what I'm seeing here with Icarus is, to him, as the person going through life, he looks at what he does and these decisions as he's Icarus. He's aiming too high. He's just doing what he does. But then ultimately they just say he's lost. But that's not right. That's 2 different things. Being lost is completely different than shooting for the moon and hitting the stars kind of thing, right? So I think that these crossed out messages offer a second layer under the lyrics than what were given through the words themselves. Do I think Lost is also referring to RM's song as well? I don't yet, but if we go through this and we catch more of those, then I might consider going back and saying, okay, that was one, and that was one. But right now, not enough evidence to put that into a thread yet.
Pastors called me devil, had me kneeling at the cross. Since I was a youngin', I was called names and bossed around. Back to the wall so long, call me pain's poster child. Religious home, times were different. They told me I was gifted, but to unwrap my mind was wicked. I was raised by guilt, raised by shame, raised by the rod. Sacrificed in the name of their God. They claimed it was love, felt like heartbreak to me. Later they say, baby, all your scars are to teach and remind you you can soar higher. What good's a bird's eye view when you're in a hunter's crossfire?
I'm going to pause it here. Where are we at? 53. We started off with this discussion about Icarus. Parents called me Icarus. Aiming too high, flying too close to the sun. Now he's going through some of the heartache. And then watch what's next.
They claimed it was love, felt like heartbreak to me. Later they say, baby, all your scars are to teach and remind you you can soar higher.
And remind you that you can soar higher. As a kid, I would be like, what's it gonna be? Which is it? Am I Icarus and I'm lost? Or are you telling me I can soar higher, I can do more, I can be greater? What's it gonna be? I can't do both at the same friggin' time. Now, I say that with energy because it's a contradiction. And when you're, I would say growing up, but it's not just growing up, it's just being a person. When you're living a life and you're trying to figure shit out like everybody else is, it's your responsibility to take all the information that's around you and then kind of filter it in, and then you make that decision to what you think is best. But when you've got these pieces coming in and they're so contradictory, it's hard to know what the right answer is.
What good's a bird's eye view when you're in?
Now that's a good point. Leah just says soar higher in the way that they want. If this first verse did not say all of the things that it did about being in a religious home and back against the wall and trained, or was it the rod? He mentioned the
Call me
rod.
devil, had me kneeling at the
Raised by shame and
cross.
the rod.
Since I was a youngin', I was called names and bossed around. Back to the wall so long, call me pain's poster child. Religious home, times were different. They told me I was gifted, but to unwrap my mind was wicked. I was raised by guilt, raised by shame, raised by the rod. Sacrificed in the name of their God. They claimed it was love, felt like heartbreak to me. Later they say, baby, all your scars are to teach and remind you you can soar higher. What good's a bird's eye view when you're in a hunter's crossfire? Sometimes I wished I got crushed in the womb. Turned to
This animation in of itself, with the rain falling, the black and white, and then the person that we're kind of experiencing this journey through, also feels very Forever Rain to me. It's on the same parallel in my brain. It makes perfect sense.
dust in the womb. My scent of youth and ungodly perfume. No wonder I've always hated the adults in the room.
The rain will fall into more.
Man, Junie's voice here is so mono. And I don't mean monotone, I mean on the vibe of mono. The atmospherics of his voice is so perfect. This song totally fits.
Come, but maybe the tears will fall to wash the pain away. I'm trying to stop the rain. I know what it feels like.
Can't run away from the pain. I feel like I'm going insane. Bad thoughts filling up my brain. Demons swimming inside my veins.
2 seconds from falling into nothing.
Can't run away from the pain. I'm trying to stop the rain.
When I was a kid, kid, I was convinced that I was destined for the 27 club.
What's the 27 Club? Does anybody know? I mean, I don't know if this is like a cultural reference, because now this is Junie's verse. So we have to at least assume these are Junie's words. This is part of his story. Artist who died at 27. Wow. I was convinced that I was destined for the 27 Club. Wow. Okay.
When I was a kid, I was convinced that I was destined for the 27 club. I'm 29, sinking in the bathtub, sipping gin, looking for another club. All the lust was a lust, dust into dust. Stray after stable, dashing dot to your dot. And every night I put my shadows on. But you know how much I hate my status quo. I know what you gotta know, my life is out.
Okay, so here's the second time something's been crossed out. But you gotta know my life is out of, and then what would have been blood, sweat, tears is crossed out. Now, in full transparency, it says blood and then SW, but we can at least infer it's blood, sweat, and tears. So, but you got to know my life is out of love.
The love, all the lessons learned already coming out of trust.
Keep my mind steady, but it's hard to readjust. Nothing stops time, but the clock will turn to rust.
Pain and rain, this will stay the same.
Got me looking for the exit just to entertain. Pain and rain, think I'm going insane.
Gotta turn off my phone tonight. Can't run away from the pain. I feel like I'm gone insane. Bad thoughts filling on my brain. Tell me swimming inside my face.
2 seconds from falling into nothing.
Can't run away from the pain.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
I'm trying to stop the
Right there. Third time something's crossed out. I'm trying to stop the rain, and forever is crossed out. I'm trying to stop the forever rain. Definitely a link to Junie.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
Oh, that's great. God, so good. First of all, let me just say I love the sound and feel of this song. I'll agree with Sarah and say it does feel very lo-fi rap to me, and I do love the atmospherics on Junie's voice. I love that they both have sections to this, and it's not just Junie having a little chorus or a hook planted in the song, and then the rest is Tablo. I like that there's a good stretch between the two of them, and I love the way that it feels. I do want to go back, though, 2 seconds from falling into nothing. There is a point where we get a glitch on the screen. I think it's before Junie's verse. Maybe. Okay.
Falling into nothing.
Can't run away from the pain. I'm trying to stop the rain.
When I was a kid, I'm trying to stop the rain. I know what it feels like.
Can't run away from
Oh, right there. I didn't catch that in the animation before.
youth and ungodly perfume. No wonder I've always hated the adults in the room.
I don't know how the hell I missed that. I think I was reading. But you can see the Icarus wings there. It's very personal to them, so it makes sense there's a distinctive equal split between them. Yeah, I think that's good. You know, they're both, at the very least, they both have their own experience, their lived experience of being an idol in an industry that is known to be incredibly difficult. So I like the fact that they're both getting time on the podium to say their piece, to kind of give their take, and it's not just one-sided.
I'm all in, but I'm losing it. Teachers call me rebel.
I don't know where it is. There's this one thing I wanted to hit on, and it doesn't need to be on the screen, but I feel like it just makes perfect sense. I'm gonna go to the end of his voice.
Pain pain and rain. Think I'm going insane.
Gotta turn off my phone tonight.
There was one part where there was a glitch on the screen and then it said, be positive. So one thing about putting together visuals with a sound bed like this is, now this is a lyric video. So thankfully it's not just the sake of like, it's not just a picture with a bunch of lyrics and then you can read the lyrics. That's boring, okay? Yeah, you get to hear the song, but the video itself is boring. This works because it's not that. There's actually something happening. There's something that is part of the song that is supporting the song itself. The fact that they are using these scribbled out words as like another layer of messaging that adds more context to the song is really, really great. But the one thing I want to point, and that's the reason I bring that up, is because specifically when you have that glitch and then it says be positive, the glitch happens, it fills the screen where you can't miss it, and there's really nothing else happening, right? You said it's in June's part? Okay, I want to find it.
I'm trying to stop the rain.
When I was a kid, I was convinced that I was destined for the 27 club. I'm 29, sinking in the bathtub, sipping gin, looking for another club. All the lust was a lust, dust into dust. Stray after stable, dash it up to your dud. And every night I put my shadows on. But you know how much I hate my status quo.
Okay. Now, given the line that happens right before this, the fact that it's in quotes actually leads me down a different road than where I was going. So it kind of changes my thought process, but I'm still going to say what I was going to say because I think that even outside of this, it makes sense and it should be said. So the reason I say it changes my thought process is because listen to these lyrics and then take the context of the be positive and see how it's not actually a positive thing.
Every night I put my shadows on. But you know how much I hate my status quo. I know what you gotta know, my life.
It sounds like this, be positive, is like, this is what I'm going through as RM. This is what I'm going through as Tablo, living this life, this very difficult life as an idol. And that all we're told when you're having a hard time is, hey, just be positive. Just be positive. Yep, just be positive. That's the answer for everything. And it's kind of not. So that's what I got from that. But one thing I do want to say, and this to some of you it will seem like complete nonsense, but I think to some of you, if not at least one of you, this will kind of make sense. This line that's repeated of being 2 seconds from falling into nothing. So many lyrics in the song talk about what led that person to this point. Tablo talks about how he was raised and kind of how things started, and then he takes that foundation as a person and then goes into idol world, and now there's a whole different bunch of animals that he has to navigate, a whole different journey. And it's kind of like saying, this is the road that I took, this is where I am now. And just like you see the boy in the video, he's 2 seconds from jumping into nothing. Now, jumping into nothing, I think it's safe to say that on some level, he's alluding to living no longer, okay? I think that's where we're going. And I think with what Junie says about being, he thought he was going to be in the 27 club, but now he's 29 and he's sinking in the bathtub drinking gin, and it's almost like he's on borrowed time, okay? So when they both are talking about 2 seconds away from jumping into nothing, I want you to kind of understand that very specifically what they're talking about is like this level of sadness that leads to depression that leads to like a deep depression. And then you get to this point where, like in the ocean, when you get so deep, you actually can't tell which way is up anymore. It's that deep. It's that dark. You can't see sunlight. There's no direction. Okay, how do I just swim up? You can't. It's that deep. Okay. When they talk about being 2 seconds away from diving into nothing and trying to stop the forever rain, 2 seconds from falling into nothing, they're talking about this very critical moment. Okay. Now, this very critical moment, I use that word very strategically, very specifically, because when you reach this level of depression, it is extremely hard to get out of. And sometimes, based on people, based on factors, it's the kind of thing that you can like revisit that moment on a daily basis sometimes. It's how life is, right? But there's something I want to point out that somebody said to me once, and it always stuck with me. I don't know how true this is. I'm not a sciencer, so take this with a grain of salt. But when we go to sleep and we are unconscious, okay, that is the closest to death that we get on a regular basis until we die. Okay, think about that. That is the closest we get. We are, and like Joe says, relief. Yes, but I'm also talking about not just relief, but like from a physical state, we are completely unconscious. We're still active, but the body is like just hanging on and doing just the bare minimum of what it needs to. Yeah, your heart slows down, your breathing slows. You are kind of dead, right? Right. Okay. So every night, and for some of you, the 16 naps that you take, no judgment, you go through a version of this moment every single day where you're on that cusp. Now it's involuntary. You're just kind of sitting there. You're just sleeping, but you're kind of in this moment. But yet every day, and the proof is you're here watching my dumbass, but every day you come out of it, you get going, you got things to do, and then we just kind of move and groove. But I want to highlight that because what they're talking about is where the only difference is that they're conscious of it. They're conscious of sitting in that spot where they are, as they put it, 2 seconds away or 2 seconds from falling into nothing. Yes, it's a dark moment, but the only real difference is that they're conscious of it. We're kind of conditioned for this in a way. So I kind of mention all that in my ridiculous fashion. Like I said, I don't have any evidence. I'm not a sciencer. But just understand that myself and probably at least a few people that you see in the chat, the couch crew, the Discord, have gone through this. We understand this moment. Some of you haven't, and you might. You might have another 10, 12, 30, 40 years, and you'll experience a moment like this. It happens. I mean, life can't be puppies and rainbows and clouds and chocolate and pizza. Sometimes, but it has its darkness too. Sometimes you just got to face the darkness head on, and then, yeah. And so absolutely, like Becca says, sometimes it flips daily. You might have this moment every day. Yeah. And sometimes things just suck. Absolutely. So while people can have good intentions, and I think their heart is in the right place when they say, hey, be positive, just keep grinding. Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm just as guilty as anybody else, because it's easy for me to sit in my little chair, you know, with my hot cocoa. That's right, don't judge me. I'm 44, I'm drinking hot cocoa. Deal with it. And say, yeah, shit sucks sometimes. It does, but you just keep going. Well, that's true. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. That's literally the fact. Yep. But that's what we do, you know? I would bet my paycheck that a huge chunk of the chat listening to these verses understands a whole lot about these lyrics. And some of these lines resonate with you very, very deeply. You get kind of flashbacks of what it was like to be a kid or what it was like a week ago or whatever. You understand it. You relate to it. This is just once again an example of the fact that I think we are a lot more similar than we are different. And I'm extremely grateful that people like Tablo and RM, who are so perfect and gifted at articulating their experience, that's kind of an artistic blanket for us to kind of throw over our head and go, okay, I don't feel so alone. I don't feel like I'm on an island anymore, you know? And because I think in metaphors all the live long day, I tend to think of things like isolation. This will make sense to you, obviously, but isolation as, you know, being on a deserted island. Now, sometimes you could think of that like, oh, it's a vacation. I got a TV, I got a DVD collection, no electricity, but I'm on a deserted island forever, whatever. You're all by yourself, you're isolated. Well, imagine doing that for a month, a year. You're isolated, but you're surviving. You're somehow still doing it, and you're lonely. And then all of a sudden one day, you find out that somebody else is on the island. Now, most of you right now in your lives, you're like, nope, don't want people, get them away from me. I get it. But I think knowing that you're not alone, even at your core, is a bit of a blanket. It's a bit of a relief because you know you're not the only one experiencing what you're experiencing. Yeah. Whew, man, I did not expect this song and animated video to go as deep as it did. I'm really glad that we did this tonight. It was really kind of a perfect cap on mono and gave us a chance to knock the dust off. I thought that was really great. Having a chronic illness be positive can be impossible and ignores the reality of my life. Yeah, I could get that. Absolutely. So, Leah, let me ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot, Leah, because you just said that. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to help kind of at least give the rest of us a clue. If we are engaging with somebody that might be in your position, what do you feel like helps you the most, right? And you might not have an answer for that, but I do think, though, like Becca says, be positive and don't be sad or just smile are triggers for me. I get that. That makes sense. Because like I said, I think that people's hearts are in the right place. The intention is good. They just want to help. I mean, it might not, but I think at the very least, if you just try to remember that they're just trying to help, you know? Yeah. Just be there. Okay, that's a great answer. That's perfect. Yeah. One of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn is that, and I'll just say, I think most of the time, honestly, most of the time, the best thing you can do for somebody is just to be there and listen. That's it. I'm not great at that because I'm a guy and I want to solve all the problems of the world and I want to take away everybody's pain. But that's, in my experience, that tends to be the best default that you can go to. If you're with somebody that's going through hell, you just sit there with them and you listen to them. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with just being like, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. I'm sorry that's what you're going through. I mean, we've talked about sitting in the snow for years. How many times we've started a live stream? Let's just sit in the snow together. Mono nights are perfect for that, you know? Yeah. That's it. Just being there with somebody. Company and empathy. Good answer.